The Blackhawks lose 4-3 to the Lightning in overtime. Taylor Hall is a Carolina Hurricane. So is Mikko Rantanen. A lot to talk about on the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast. Hawks lose 4-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I am Jay Zawaski. That guy is Greg Boysen. Hi. You know Greg. There he is. He's right there. Sarah's here as usual. Mario is under the weather tonight. It was supposed to be a three-man show, but Mario kind of fell ill as the day went on, so it's just me and Greg tonight.
Must have been hanging out with Seth Jones.
He must have been, yeah. Man, we have a ton to talk about in this game. Before we do, hit that like button to welcome Greg back, please. And make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And check out Greg's work at ChicagoHockeyNow.com. Make sure you're reading all of his latest stuff. We are going to get to the Taylor Hall trade and everything surrounding that in the second segment. We want to get through the game here first before we get into all that. So Hawks lose 4-3 in overtime. Had a decent game for two periods. And then the third period happened. They were outshot 17-1. They gave up the tying goal after giving up the second goal to Tampa with 8 seconds left in the second period. And then Tampa, as everyone predicted, I heard Troy Murray say it on the radio, they're just going to pour it on and bring it. That's exactly what they did. And all-stars are going to all-star.
Yeah, the Blackhawks played real well the first 40 minutes. They gave Tampa all they could handle, 3-1 lead. You give up that goal with 7.9 seconds to go in the second period. You know, the Hawks were the team doing that the last couple of games where they had that goal late in the second period. And Nick Foligno said, you know, some smart reporter asked him a question about that after the Vegas game. And he said, you know, those really can boost the team. So they scored 7 seconds ago in the second period, and as Troy said, you just knew. Yeah. And I'm sure they knew, and there was nothing they could do about it.
No, it was just hold on to your butts for 20 minutes.
They almost did.
Yeah.
Arvid Söderblom was fantastic tonight. And then, you know, Alec Martinez needs to get some different sticks. They betrayed him. Gets it caught in the stick of Brendan Hagel. Bad luck. And then the stick breaks in the final seconds, and Tavo has to pull down Nick. I'm not sure he needed to do that because there was like 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
But instinct came in.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him.
Yeah, it was.
It's instinct,
I feel like everyone would have done it in that position.
Yeah, it's instinct kicks in. Oh no, I have to prevent this. I'd rather take a 2-minute. Chances are you probably wouldn't have scored, you know, already. So. Bad luck on Martinez, a guy that, you know, can't get many good breaks this season.
Absolutely not.
Literally a bad break with his stick on that final play, but
yeah,
you can't give Tampa Bay power plays.
No, and you're over 3 on the kill.
Anders Sorensen said it this morning. Like, we can't give them power plays, and they scored 3 power play goals tonight. Their first and their last 2. And they were easy power play goals.
Yeah, not much the Hawks could do about it.
Is
72 points on the year for Nikita Kucherov. 72 points.
He's got 50 assists. Nobody on the Blackhawks is going to have 50 assists this season.
No,
he's already got it in January.
This is a good post game or postseason conversation. But we talk about underrated players. Nikita Kucherov. Yes, people know he's great. But, oh, my God, he is astronomically great.
Makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
Those passes on both of those first 2 power play
the
goals.
Gensel goal 8, yeah.
And that one in the first period was just, I'm in the corner, I'm taking out this play. Nope, easy assist. Like, he's so good and so smooth. And I think part of the thing that makes him so good is even though he's the best player on the ice and is like one of the best players in the world, he makes himself get lost.
Yes, he does.
Like you somehow lose him.
It's
Which
almost impossible to imagine.
Right.
That's the one guy you can't lose.
And he
It's the key
gets
to good
himself
job.
lost out there. That's a skill that is so underrated.
Well,
and
that's,
all the
I mean,
best seem to do it. Like
Patrick Kane used to do it. Artemi Panarin did it.
I mean, how many times
do you find that
how
spot?
many times have we
Ovechkin's
said,
made a career.
how does Alex Ovechkin that wide open?
Exactly.
And he is every time.
Yes. He just finds a way to sneak in there.
Never underestimate the power of the sneakiness.
It's just sneaky, sir. Absolutely. Man, there's some good stuff in this game, though. You know, this is a very typical Blackhawks loss. Frustrating. Arvid Söderblom was great, but Colton Dach scores his first NHL goal. Frank Nazar has a 2-point night. Ethan Del Mastro, I thought, looked really good. There's a moment in the second period where he goes right behind the net, tries to feed it in front to Colton Dach, who gets a stick lifted at the last second. Man, he was not afraid of anything in this game. I really liked the way Del Mastro played at the end of the night. 15:49 of ice time. Had a shot, 3 shot attempts, and 2 hits. This is a solid first NHL game of the season for him. Love what I saw from 38.
Yo, he was really good, real smooth out there. He looked like an NHL player. You know, tonight was big because you lost. Yeah, you got a point. Hey, you got a 4-game point streak. You haven't had one of those all season long. Hey, the loser point is back, baby.
There we go.
But it's the kids that did all the heavy lifting tonight, and that's what you want to see. You know, Frank Nazar, 2-point game. His first NHL goal for the 3rd time in his career.
I don't know if the TV broadcast picked that up, but the substitute announcer, actually the third string announcer, called it the first goal of his career, which is not accurate.
No, it's his second this season. But
yes.
somehow his first of his career. But anyway, mistakes.
It's nice to hear it again.
Lord knows I've said a lot of dumb, wrong things in the microphones, and I'm probably going to say a few before this show's
Not
over.
within the last couple weeks.
No, it's true.
You're on a 3-week streak of not saying anything stupid on this show.
I don't know. I probably said something on my own little videos, but it was the kids doing the heavy lifting. Nazar with the 2 points. Dach had the goal. Could have had 2 goals. Crevier,
Crevier, highest rated player in this game, by the way.
Yeah,
of the game for either team.
That's remarkable because he was kind of struggling a couple weeks ago, and he's really found it. I mean, this is a 7th round pick that is turning out to be a solid NHL defenseman.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure what his ceiling is, but you know, this
might be it.
It's hey, the Blackhawks blue line is going to be something special here in a season or 2.
Yes, it is. Especially when they get Matthew Schaefer.
Yes. And trade for Cale Makar. Yeah. But Crevier was good. Del Mastro looked solid. Allen, you know, that pairing got hemmed in a lot tonight, but, you know.
It's going to happen against Tampa.
Yeah, that's going to happen. He was on the top pairing, quote-unquote top pairing with Seth Jones being gone. But you have, you know, Arvid Söderblom, a guy that was not in the plans at all, kind of maybe in the plans again. This is a guy that was like, are you going to loan him back to Sweden and not even play him here this year?
I mean,
now he's your best goalie.
Well, I've said this like 2 months ago, too. If someone comes calling for Peter Mrazek at this point, you're like, all right, like, fine. Go with Comesso and Söderblom. What does it matter? It's a young team. Hopefully Brossoit resurrects from the dead in time for next season and can play some games. But, like, yeah, he has created a nice situation for the Hawks.
It also opens up a trade market. You know, maybe you trade Peter Mrazek.
Yeah.
Either now or in the summer, or you trade Brossoit in the summer. You're going to need him to come and actually play some games.
Yes, that'd be good.
And look like he actually show the world he has 2 legs. But it opens up, definitely gives you a lot of options. Kyle Davidson and the Blackhawks have a lot of options here. You know, this is a topic for another day, but there's going to be a lot of work to be done this offseason. to get this team where he wanted it to be this season and beyond. But there are a lot of options. There are a lot of moving parts. And now all of a sudden you might have 3 viable goaltenders. You can throw one out there on the market and see what you get for it.
And it's, Jacob Markstrom just went down. Sounds like 4 to 6 weeks for him. But you know who else is 4 to 6 weeks? Laurent Brossoit back in September.
Right.
So
and he's been dead for 3 months.
You never know. I want to tell you about the 4th star nominees in this game. The 3 stars, Jake Gensel, Louis Crevier, who we've been discussing, and Nikita Kucherov. So here are your options for the 4th star of the game. Frank Nazar, like we mentioned, a goal and an assist for him. He also had 16:05 of ice time, 2 shot attempts, and was 0 for 2 from the dot bum. Colton Dach, first NHL goal, +1, 12:30 of ice time, 1 shot, 4 shot attempts and a hit, and 2 block shots. And of course, somehow not one of the 3 stars of the game, Arvid Söderblom, who stopped 43 of 47 Lightning shots. So get your votes in. We'll reveal the winner at the end of the show here. Again, we are going to get to the Taylor Hall massive trade with Carolina and Colorado coming up here in a second. A lot of people in the chat talking about Nolan Allen. And boy, I don't know if I was just seeing a different game. He was on the ice for 8 shot attempts for and 27 against. That is a negative 30.48 Corsi. The only player on the ice worse than him was Tyler Bertuzzi. That line, by the way, of Bertuzzi, Bedard, and Nazar, the 3 of the top 5, 3 of the bottom 5 in terms of possession in this game. And I do want to talk a little bit about Bedard. I did not like his game today. I think he was trying to, pass and pass and pass and hold the puck and hold the puck and hold the puck, and was knocked off the puck a little too easily today. Had many opportunities to take shooting advantage and didn't. I know, you hear 32 Thoughts and Elliot Friedman saying, like, they hear Bedard's frustration and they want to get him some help. Connor can help himself too. You are the dude. You are the generational number 1 pick. Start shooting, put the puck on net, take over games. It's what everyone is waiting for. Everyone. And yeah, he had an assist in this game. And at the end of the day, he's 1 shot on goal, 6 shot attempts, fine. But boy, there were so many opportunities that he had and passed up.
Yeah, there was that one play where he was coming in, I believe it was the first period. He was coming in off the wing and had like a 1-on-1 chance with only 1 defender in front of him, and then does his little, I got to change the angle,
the toe drag,
shot, and all this stuff. Sometimes you just get a quick little wrister. Because if you're doing all this stuff every single time, the goalie knows. So maybe,
and the defender knows.
Maybe just surprise him with a quick wrister. You've got a really good wrist shot. Try it. See what happens.
When you look at the goals he scored recently, was it the Vegas game where he scored? Whatever it was like a short side goal. He's flipped it on net real quick. He's got a great shot and use it. It's not going to be like the World Juniors where he's able to manipulate and toe drag, and changing the angle is great, but it can't be every time you shoot. Because then people go to school on it. NHL goalies are better. NHL defenders are better. You've got to get that shot off quickly and more often.
Yeah, the element of surprise is big in scoring goals. The more time, even if it's just a half second or a second, if you give an NHL goalie or an NHL defenseman a second to get their bearings together and figure out what you're going to do, they're probably going to prevent you from doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
So getting it off the stick quick is definitely something he needs to work on going forward. It is frustrating at times where, I know he takes pride in being a playmaker, not just a goal scorer. It's okay to be a goal scorer.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Goals are not selfish.
No, it's fine.
No one was mad at Colton Dach and Frank Nazar for scoring.
So, the things that, again, he needs to work on. We're dealing with a really talented player who's still trying to figure it out at the NHL level. But things will get better for him as he gets better team around him. When, there's guys on the ice looking to get him the puck as opposed to him facilitating everybody else.
Yeah.
He needs to, when this team is ready to contend again and it's got, their core here and they're producing, the line's going to be facilitating him as opposed to the other way around.
Well, we'll continue this conversation on the other side of the break. We're also going to get to your super chats, so stick around. Then we're going to get into the Taylor Hall trade discussion. Do us a favor, hit that like button. We'll be back in a moment on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. And if you're looking for some cannabis, check out our friends at Verilife. Verilife cannabis stores are your top destination for the best product selection, featuring all your favorite brands at unbeatable prices. Game for something new? P3 offers a variety of infused joints and infused blunts for the solo challenge or a group session made with a unique combination of cannabis, distillate, and botanical terpenes. Every hit rings true with 35% THC or higher potency. Woo!
All the mechanical terpenes at Lollapalooza last
They were
year.
awesome.
They were great.
All these great products and more can be found at any one of the 8 Verilife locations across Illinois, or you can browse and order ahead at verilife.com. And if you place your order online, redeem that code CHGO25 at checkout to receive the discount. Again, mention the code CHGO25 in store, and you'll get 25% off one of these amazing products today at Verilife. It's awesome. Love it. And whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circus Sports Illinois. Circus Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circus Sports handles Circus Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures are in-game. Circus Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Just some final thoughts on the Bedard thing. I was saying it to you during the game, and I've said it a lot this year. When the best teams in hockey come into town, Tampa, Dallas, it goes on and on and on. You never see them weaving through the zone, looking for that pass. If they get a 2-on-1, they're not skating it behind the net, trying to throw it in front. They're putting the damn puck on goal. Every time Tampa had a look, it's Söderblom like, F it, I'm going to throw it on net. Louis Crevier's goal is a perfect example. They had just had a power play where they had possession for a lot of it, circled the zone over and over again. Nothing came of it. Crevier jumps over the boards, gets a shot at the point, says, I'm going to put the puck on net, and the Hawks score. It doesn't have to be a constant Harlem Globetrotter show. The best teams in hockey don't play that way. They don't. The way that it's more of puck possession from winning board battles, making crisp passes. It's not weaving through traffic. Even the Dynasty Hawks weren't skating through people over and over again. Jonathan Toews scored that goal against Colorado, that famous one, his rookie year. He maybe did that 2 or 3 other times in his career. Most of his goals came right in the slot, right in front, putting a puck on net. That's how you score in this league.
A few years ago, I took part in an analytics study. Somebody was putting together. I don't remember what the result was, but my job was to look at every goal James Neal. Remember James Neal?
Yeah.
Was to watch every goal James Neal scored for 3 seasons and use a stopwatch to time how long the puck was on his stick from when he received the pass to when he shot the puck, and mark that.
Okay.
So the case study was about how quick goal scorers shoot, and over a 3-year period, James Neal on all his goals, the puck averaged 0.7 seconds on his stick for every one of his goals.
That's
James
insane.
Neal scored a lot of goals in
Yes,
his
he
career.
did.
That's what he was good at. So just let that show you that, like, sometimes get puck, shoot puck.
Yeah.
It works.
That's it.
You know, there are other times maybe you need to weave around, but simple is good. Shoot the puck.
Yes.
You know, the Lightning wore down the Blackhawks tonight just by constantly shooting. And eventually they got a couple bounces, goes their way. You know when you don't get bounces? When you don't shoot the puck.
Right.
You never get a bounce if you don't shoot the puck.
100%. All right, let's get to these super chats and we'll get into the Taylor Hall thing.
We'd like to remind you
Giggities.
folks,
Sorry.
keep your questions within the boundaries of good taste.
Giggities for $5 says, look at that. Greg comes back and Taylor Hall gets traded.
And a 4-game point streak, just saying.
Yeah, Dead Hawk points that out. $2. 5 points in 4 games against 3 playoff teams. That's a 103-point pace. There you go. Hashtag extend Sorensen. Daniel Weldon, $5, says more of this game needs to round out. More of his game needs to round out, but very impressed with Noah Allen's poise. What do you guys think of him this season and this game? I've been impressed with him overall, too. Did not have a great game tonight, but much like we mentioned with Del Mastro. Yeah.
Last minute, go out there and be in the top pair. But Nolan Allen, as you said, Daniel, poise. He is calm. He's just got a presence about him. He never panics. You see guys, even Alex Vlasic at this point of his career, still guilty every once in a while of the hand grenade pass. Like, oh no, a 4-checker's bearing down on me. I better get rid of this quickly. Allen doesn't do that too often. He definitely a calming presence back there, and I think he's only scratching the surface of what his game is going to be.
And Corey for $5 says Crevier looks like a giraffe out there. I bet he gets started for the Bulls. Would he be like a point guard? Was he 6'8"?
6'7"?
Yeah, he'd be a point guard or I don't know. That's the only position I know in basketball.
Small forward.
Yeah, he's a forward that is small. Forward.
Just a lot of people in the chat. Thank you guys for the warm welcome back. Just in case you didn't know what was going on, I'm going to be jumping in. I'm not full-time back at CHGO, but I am going to be jumping on and doing the home game, post-game shows for the rest of the season. The plan will be Mario, when he's healthy, sticking back and calling in so we get that locker room report. But from here on out, the rest of the season, I'll be here doing all the post-game, home game, post-game shows. And then, we'll see what happens from there. But I appreciate the support. I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of like a men's dress shirt button that falls into your urinal. No matter how hard you try, you just can't.
It's there forever. It will never go away. All right, let's get into this trade. Can we flush this game? I think we're good. I think
speaking of urinals,
if we want to summarize things, what matters as we watch the rest of the season here is how the young players perform.
Blackhawks lost a competitive game to a good team, and the players that are going to be here when this team is good did all the heavy lifting.
100%.
It's a game that you could be excited about what it represents.
Yep. And one more super chat from Brad, $50. Damn. Ooh. Says, welcome back, Greg. CHGO, figure it out. We want Greg here full time. Agreed.
Well,
figure it out.
About 1,000 more of those $50 super chats will probably get it done.
Start paying up, folks. And hit that like button to welcome Greg back if you haven't yet. All right, so here's the deal. This was, the biggest trade I can recall in some time. Not just for the quality of player going, but the players involved. So it's a 3-way trade between the Hawks, the Avalanche, and the Hurricanes. Carolina gets Taylor Hall from the Hawks and Mikko Rantanen from Colorado. Colorado gets Martin Necas and Jack Drury, a 2025 second, and a 2026 fourth, all those from Carolina. The Hawks get a 2025 third-round pick, the pick that was their own, that they traded to Carolina to draft Jack Pridham in last year's draft, and they retain 50% of Rantanen's salary. And let's get into the Taylor Hall aspect of this, because I think there's a lot of confusion. If you read my Blackhawks beat that was published this morning, and if you're a diehard, you can read it, I sort of speculated what the return can be for guys. I went in and compared what the returns were for similar trades last year. Third round pick was pretty much what everyone was expecting the Hawks to get for Taylor Hall. They're retaining none of Taylor Hall's $6 million contract. They are instead retaining $4.625 million of Mikko Rantanen's till the end of this year, and then it's gone.
Right, and then they're going to pay him $14 million a year after that to play here.
That would be absolutely dandy. So if your thought is you're trading Taylor Hall for a third round pick, that's the going rate. Instead of getting Carolina's third round pick, which would be high 80s, low 90s in the draft,
making the trade like this, they could be the last pick of the third round.
And now you're moving up to one of the top 3 picks in the draft.
You get your own pick. So
there's a 20 spot jump at least.
At the very least.
Yeah.
It's going to be 20 to 25 picks earlier. I mean, yeah, 3rd round picks but it's essentially, where the Hawks finish right now, it would be the first pick of this 3rd round. So it's almost a 2nd round pick. So, 3rd round pick. If you thought the Hawks were going to get more than a 3rd round pick for Taylor Hall, you were expecting too much. I don't think anybody out there thought anybody that, legit analyst thought it was going to be a 1st round or a 2nd round pick for Taylor Hall.
Right.
That was not going to happen. 3rd round pick was the going route. I know people think, you see that you're retaining, and you're not getting anything for the retention. I mean, sometimes it's good to be a facilitator for these types of things, because then down the road when you want to make a deal, people are more likely to answer your phone call or work with you on something. Or, hey, remember 3 years ago when I helped you facilitate this trade? Now I need somebody to retain some salary so I can make this trade to become a Stanley Cup contender.
Hey, don't forget, we make a trade 3 years down the road. Remember, I took that $4.625 million.
Now I need you.
How about I get a second instead of a third in this other trade we're making? But I know that doesn't satisfy fans. I know that. And there's a comment from Dr. Sexyback in the chat here that says basically just scroll up a little bit, Sarah. It's pink. It's a pink avatar. There we go. We couldn't get a 3rd round pick without retaining salary. You weren't trading Taylor Hall without retaining salary either. Taylor Hall made $6 million. No one's taking Taylor Hall at $6 million.
If you were going to trade Taylor Hall and not retain any salary, you were going to get a 5th or a 6th.
So again, basically what you're doing is, instead of paying $3 million of Taylor Hall's salary and trading him for a low 3rd round pick, you're paying $1.625 million more than you were going to move up 20 spots at least. Yeah. This is a wise trade. And I know people are saying, well, they should have traded for Mikko Rantanen. That can still happen. There's no extension done here with Rantanen.
Don't have a Jack Drury and a Martin Necas to give up.
No, exactly. And
they're not trading him for Jason Dickinson and Lucas Reichel.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Me and Mario were talking about it this week on the Mailbag Show, trying to dream up what it could take if they were going to trade for Rantanen in season. It was going to be like Dickinson, Hall, Korchinski, or Nazar, a 1st, and maybe that's like where the conversation begins. Martin Necas is Carolina's top goal scorer. Jack Drury is a pretty solid prospect.
I like Jack Drury is a nice play. He's going to do well in Colorado. He fits. They got a guy in Necas who I'm not saying he's an ideal replacement for Rantanen, but he's close. He's got the size. He's the same type of player, a power forward type of player. Has scored a lot. He's no longer the Carolina's leading goal scorer. He was for a lot. It's Jack Roslovic, a guy, somebody that used to be on the show, wanted the Blackhawks to sign this summer, but they didn't.
I agree with that.
But he plays that similar type of role, and he's younger than Rantanen and could turn into Mikko Rantanen. He's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack Drury gives them something they desperately need, and that's depth. Jack Drury is I got to cover him for a couple seasons when he was playing with the Chicago Wolves when they were Carolina's team. And he's a guy that young, he's got some goal scoring ability, fast, but he is a pain in the ass. And he comes from a hockey family. He's Ted Drury's kid.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Colorado some serious high marks for having the stones to pull this trade off. How do you tell your fan base that we're going to trade away our leading goal scorer and a guy that should have won the freaking MVP 2 years ago?
They must have been really far apart.
Everything I heard was not like he wanted 14. He wanted Draisaitl money, but Colorado would not pay him more than they're paying McKinnon, 12.6. So they're going to let him go because you don't. And with the salary cap going up, you better realize you're going to eventually pay somebody more than Nathan McKinnon. If Nathan McKinnon, I don't think Nathan McKinnon would have been pissed.
No, if
Mikko
Rantanen's
Rantanen's got
back,
more because that's his buddy. They're
right.
Like,
who cares?
So,
There's no way Nathan McKinnon's like, absolutely not. I have to be the highest paid guy.
And that's fine. Then trade Nathan McKinnon to the Blackhawks if he's that big of a.
Yes, exactly.
But I give credit to Colorado for realizing that we're not going to get something done here and making a move and getting a pretty darn good return. It's even better if Rantanen goes elsewhere. And doesn't stay in Carolina. I would imagine Carolina is going to do everything they can to re-sign him. They're going to need to do some more roster surgery to get that to happen, but we'll see what happens.
We got to hit the break zone. We're going to continue this conversation here in a moment on CHGO Blackhawks. But for the best way to start 2025, head to Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and
Ram.
All right. And shop for the Start Something New sales event to score some of the year's best savings on new vehicles. Hurry in today to browse their huge inventory of new vehicles right now. Get 0% financing on all new 2024 Jeep models or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey. With Ray's price promise, the number you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's price promise means no price gouging, no price changing rather, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. They won't gouge prices either. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake.
Not my job anymore.
For more info, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963. And hey, the sun is out. It's cold as a witch's underboob, but the sun's out and you don't want to go snowblind in this cold weather. So get yourself ready for the winter ahead with quality shades built to last from our friends at Shady Rays. They've got you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. They've got hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. Even snow goggles, if you're into skiing, they got those. And they have styles in your favorite team's colors, so you can go red and black, you can go orange and blue. Whatever you're into, do it. Plus, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right. I think another aspect of this trade, by the way, is maybe people are not so concerned about taking on the money or whatever, but it's the fact that now there's only one retention spot open. They're paying Jake McCabe's salary, half of it in Toronto, or $2 million of it. They're paying now Mikko Rantanen half of his. So if they wanted to make another move or help a team relieve salary, they've only got one slot left to do it. What this tells me is they're probably not moving Seth Jones this year.
Not at the deadline. That's a difficult
Yes.
trade to make. Those are the type of deals that get done at the draft or right before the draft in the off season. That's a tough one to do now. Not impossible, but apparently, I'm sure you guys have talked about it. There are a lot of reports that teams are calling the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
He's not, excuse me, Seth Jones is not being actively shopped, but teams are inquiring, saying, hey, so there is a market for him. That contract is not nearly as bad as people say it is. With the salary cap on the rise, the escrow is a thing of the past. I mean, Elliot Freeman says this thing could be up over $100 million within 2 years.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, this thing goes up anywhere from 15 to 20 million over the next 3 seasons. $9.5 million is nothing.
Right. Yeah. It's so, and that's why you sign. I mean, look, it's the same thing with Duncan Keith. It was the same thing with Marian Hossa. At the time it was signed, it was sticker shock. And then as it went on, you're like, oh, okay, well, this is very manageable and agreeable.
And even if they don't trade him again, the Seth Jones contract is not preventing the Blackhawks from doing anything right now, and it is not going to prevent them from doing anything in the near future either. So, I would be surprised if Seth Jones is traded before the deadline. If he gets traded in the summer, that won't be as surprising.
No.
I don't know if the Blackhawks are eager to move on from Seth Jones at this point. He still provides,
6 points in his last 4 games.
He still provides value to a locker room that has a ton of young defensemen on the way. People, the people that don't like him, never going to like him. But you watch the way he is a pro and the way he practices and he conducts himself. That's how you want all your young defensemen to do. So he provides more value than just what he does on the ice. So I'm not sure they're ready to move on, but if someone gives them an offer that is too good to say no to, sure, you take it.
Yeah.
Not actively trying to trade him actually gives the Blackhawks more leverage. Like, nah, we don't really want to do that. And then that GM comes back with a better deal. You're like, okay, we'll do that one.
Yeah. Yeah, let's make it work.
But yeah, I
make us trade him.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if he's traded by the deadline. But which each passing day that some of these top insider guys keep mentioning his name, the possibility gets a little better.
Sure. Someone in the chat, I forgot who it said. It was like, what has this GM done? I can recap some of it if you'd like.
Do we have to? I think they should.
Traded Kirby Dach for the picks that turned into Frank Nazar and Gavin Hayes. Traded Fraser Mitten to the Maple Leafs for Peter Mrazek and a first-round pick, which turned into Sam Renzel. That's pretty good. Traded Riley Stillman for Jason Dickinson and a second-round pick. Pretty good. I'd say that's decent.
What has he done today, Jay?
Today, he got moved up 20 spots in the draft for what he probably would have gotten for Taylor Hall elsewhere. Just for $1.6 million to move up 20 spots.
Yeah, no, we don't.
But as we know,
we don't need to do the Kyle Davidson resume. They know what he's done. People, again.
Well, Greg.
People have their heels dug in and won't be satisfied with anything.
General managers who never played the game, like Carolina's Eric Tulsky, could never pull off and could never make a good deal for their team.
Hey.
What has Eric Tulsky done aside from acquire Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall today?
Let the nerds run the game. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
The jocks have had their turn.
I think so.
It's the nerds' time. Let's do it. Let's get weird.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, it's people just want to be mad at somebody, and they're mad that the Hawks didn't get someone back. Like Jim Von Velt is in the chat saying Kyle needs to go. They should have gotten more. And our buddy Deadhawk is like, well, who? And he's like, I don't know anyone. Well, okay, you just want to be mad.
Right. It's fine. Be
like
mad. It's
we're explaining to you why they did what they did.
Yeah.
Why they facilitated the trade. And Lewis says this was a stupid, unnecessary trade. I hope you aren't trying to justify this trade for Hall. This is exactly what everyone expected the Hawks to get for Taylor Hall. I don't know how more clearly we can explain this.
I laugh at...
What are you going to get for Taylor Hall?
For the last 6 weeks plus, it's been, we need to start trading veterans for the young guys to play. Then you trade a veteran to create a roster spot for a young guy, and it's not good enough. Whatever. I'm done trying to please the people who are never happy. It's never going to happen.
That's a good point.
And we should stop acknowowing it because it's just a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, it's hard. It's just up in front of our face all
it.
day,
That's
all
what
day,
I'm
all
here
day.
for. See, you've got the voice of reason back.
I appreciate that.
Screw the dopes.
That's true.
The only dopes that matter are these two dopes.
Yep. The thing that remains to be seen for Davidson is, can he land that big fish? Can he go out and get the Marner, the Rantanen, the whoever it might be, Brock Besser, whatever the big name might be, to come and help Connor Bedard? Can he make that deal happen? He's got cap space. He has nothing but draft capital. Like, everything he needs to get it done. And by the way, he also has Chicago in his back pocket, which, despite how they're playing right now, is a massive ace in the hole for any GM to say, hey, come play for an original six Chicago Blackhawks team that is on the rise. Come be Connor Bedard, center or winger for the next 8 years and make yourself a crap ton of money.
The Blackhawks have proven time and time again that they will be right at the salary cap threshold when they need to be.
Yeah.
They're not going to get cheap. They're not going to, they're not going to all of a sudden go, well, we're not going to pay, they're not going to pull a Tom Ricketts and all of a sudden not be one of the big players on the block. It's why the coaching thing, they'll pay. If they got a guy that they want, they'll pay. If it's David Carl and he says, I want whatever million, here.
Hey, if the Bears can do it, damn it, the Hawks can do it. Yeah. At least the Hawks have proven to do it before.
So, yeah, the getting, rebuilding, the tearing down of a rebuild is easy. It's the building back up that's difficult and takes time and takes a few lucky breaks along the way.
Yeah.
Takes some good scouting. But when the time comes, you have to get those last pieces of the puzzle. And that's where teams like Buffalo and Detroit have struggled. They haven't been able to figure out that recipe to get them over the hump. Ottawa was in that spot, kind of still is, but they were like, hey, let's go get Linus Ullmark and see what happens. And that's helped them. They can't score any goals recently, but they're right there.
Yeah. Can I help Luis? Because he said, you want to come at me. So I'm going to come at Luis because he's in the Bullet Club. He says, you literally could have gotten the same third-round pick for Hall that you got in this trade without retaining. Actually, if you were listening, it is the Blackhawks' own third-round pick back, which means it will be a top 1, 2, 3, or 4 pick in the third round instead of a late third-round pick that would have been Carolina's or Colorado's or insert contender here. So again, they're paying the $1.6 million difference from retaining Hall versus retaining Rantanen to move up 20-some spots in the draft. It is their own pick. No contender is going to pick one of the top 4 picks in this third round of the draft. It's very simple. If you just stop clacking away at the keyboard and listen to the words being said, we've explained it several times. That's what it is. It is the Blackhawks' own third round pick back at the top of the third round, which is exactly what everyone expected Taylor Hall to be traded for, a third round pick. So they got one at the top of the third round instead of the bottom. Okay, I think we're clear now.
As mud.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yes, and as I like to always do in these situations when you're coming up to a trade deadline or an off-season begins, I like to wait till it's all said and done before I judge. This is just one of many trades the Blackhawks are probably going to make. We don't know if there's a second deal down the road with Carolina or Colorado, or all of a sudden, oh, now it makes sense. I see what they're doing, or whatever. Let's wait till March 7th comes and goes before we declare winners or losers. Let's see how this team looks different on the ice on March 7th and what the future looks like on March 7th before we start making declarations about bad trades or whatnot.
Makes no sense to me.
Taylor Hall, nice guy. He's a warrior of a hockey player. I'm not going to miss him for a second on this team.
I mean, now the question...
The guy people have been screaming to get out of the lineup for weeks.
You want to go young? This is the way to do it.
And now...
Who comes up?
Now you call somebody up. You're going to have to. You don't have any forwards right now.
Well, Maroon came back to play tonight.
Right, but you don't have an extra forward. He was scratched. He took
all
spot.
12 of your forwards were in.
So
Landon Slaggert time, baby.
Landon Slaggert, maybe that's the likely choice. Maybe
unless you were to bring,
maybe you give Cole Gutman a look because he's been really good, but then he can't play in the AHL All-Star game. You don't want to rob him of that.
No, you don't want to screw him out of that.
He's got like 9 more of those left in his career.
He's always dreamed of that. Yeah, exactly.
But there's going to be some spots opening up now, and that's exciting. Maybe you get some guys that maybe you get an AHL prospect type guy in one of these trades coming up. You don't see a lot of that anymore, but maybe there's options coming. So let's wait and see between now and you've got 6 weeks before the trade deadline. Yeah. I mean, this is getting a jump on the trade market and see how it all plays out. But right now there's a spot. So tomorrow we'll find out who's going to get a call up. I don't know if the Hawks are planning on practicing tomorrow.
Maybe it's Athanasiou.
I mean,
the Hawks are practicing tomorrow.
Okay.
11:30.
Hey, maybe it is Athanasiou. Who knows?
Now that I'd be pissed about. I mean, there's no way they think our friends at CHSN on one of their talking head shows with David Haw and company were like talking trade deadline. Athanasiou is the name to watch. Is it? Because people could have just had him for free and chose not to. No, I really hope
David Haw with a horrible hockey take.
I love David Haw. He's a nice man.
Sure he is.
I hope that
I just don't want him ever talking about hockey.
Yeah, I hope that it's Landon Slager. But it should be mentioned too, by the way, that Philipp Kurashev has put together a couple nice games in a row here too. So if you're thinking about keeping him in the lineup, you don't want to call somebody up to sit. I don't know, who else on Rockford is there besides? You got to bring
somebody up. So maybe it's Gutman. Maybe
it's really only Gutman or Slaggert though, really, right?
Or Athanasiou. Because that's a guy you don't care if you bring up and he doesn't play. What's more important, Landon Slaggert playing 11 minutes a night on the fourth line here, or playing top line in Rockford for another 3
Joey
weeks?
Anderson's an option too.
Whoa, how did we forget him?
Yeah.
Joey Anderson. There's your guy. There it is right there.
He's
back, baby.
I would like to see
Joey Anderson and me back on the same night. What a night.
Man, that would be amazing.
What a great night.
Another option would be Samuel Savoie.
Maybe.
Kind of what this team needs a little bit. I don't know. Slager just makes all the sense in the world. He's got a one-way deal next year. He has proven that he's NHL ready. He played well last year. He's playing well this year for Rockford. What more does he need to show at the AHL level? Right? I don't know. I don't know.
I was talking about my good buddy Fork today.
Yes.
And
I talk to Forks all the time.
We were talking about Ryan Donato, and I had felt that I still feel Donato re-ups with this team eventually. And he brought up the idea of next season a line of Ryan Donato, Savoie, and Landon Slaggert. And I was like, now that's a line hard to play against.
Yes.
This team wants to be hard to play against.
Be up your ass for 60 minutes.
That is a ball-busting line right there. So we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cole Gutman gets another run here. I still think Cole Gutman is a career AHL guy, but he's played really good down in Rockford. Leads the team of power play goals. So maybe you give him a little reward, or it's probably going to be Joey Anderson. All this talk, and Joey Anderson's the safe guy. Joey Anderson's the guy you bring up here, and if you scratch him 6 games in a row, it's just like he was here before.
That's true. I also think too, it is also very much assumed that Donato is going to get moved. He's probably their, if you're not counting Seth Jones, probably their second most valuable trade chip after Hall. I think there's a lot of contenders that would like to add a low cost Ryan Donato with the deadline. It makes a lot of sense. So once he's traded, then you've got your spot for Slaggert or Gutman or whoever it might be. Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably going to be Joey Anderson.
Right, because Slaggert will get his time. There's going to be 3 or 4 more spots open up before the trade deadline comes and goes. So
I wonder, though, the Athanasiou thing is interesting because we haven't seen him with Sorensen yet. Maybe Sorensen thinks a little more. Maybe he thinks the way Sorensen coaches could get a little more out of Athanasiou than the Richardson style.
He scored on his first shift he ever played for Anders Sorensen in Rockford.
That's right. It's the magic.
I mean, I would think this system would suit him better. And maybe the Blackhawks want to get him back up here because who knows? Maybe some team will get weird and give him a pick for him. I mean, you're not getting much more than a 5th round pick for. And
if you get anything for him,
and you
GM of the year,
you talk about retention.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Could be. We'll find out in the morning.
I guess so.
My money's on Joey Anderson, though.
Hello says, first time listener. Can we shout out my dad, Tim?
Hi, Tim.
There you go. It's done. Corey with another $2 says, glad to have you back, Greg.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Goo. This chat is like my last 30 girlfriends. Never happy. Well, sorry to hear that.
Wrong there.
Our pal Windy City Hockey with $2. Your
girlfriend would have got more than a 3rd round pick for Taylor Hall.
Who do you, Ben Folds? Windy City Hockey with $2 says, call up Samuel Savoie and Landon Slaggert. Give that the double salute so I can talk Notre Dame with Slags. It's my favorite thing to do in the locker room. And Josh Rice
after you pray
with a $5. I don't think he's not quite that level. A little bit.
Okay.
Josh, $5 says, my 2 cents. Davidson probably moves this 3rd round pick to move up in the 2nd or even 1st during the 2025 draft. 5D chess, baby. Yes, I mean, look, these draft assets, that's what they are. They're draft assets.
Yeah, he hasn't he's shown he's willing to do that before. So, as I said, let it all play out before we get those pitchforks and torches and storm the United Center.
Yeah. By the way, a lot of people talking about this Nils Juntorp part of the trade. He is not part of the Blackhawks official release on this trade, so I'm seeing that name float around as another piece the Hawks traded, but I don't think it doesn't appear that that's true.
That's a guy that
he was not gonna play here.
No,
not gonna work here anymore anyway.
Because I did the European part of the rebuild report last year. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not a lot. That's a guy that if he ever plays in North America would be a huge victory for whoever has his rights. So yeah, that wasn't in the official release. I've seen that a bunch too, but I'm not sure. That's just a nothing part of this deal.
Yeah,
I wouldn't lose sleep over that.
It looks like, by the way, there's a little news on Jonathan Taves. According to Pierre LeBrun, Taves will not come back this year. Looks like he'll be back in next year, or he's going to try to come back next year. So
that's probably the best.
It's a little news and nugget
thing to do. That's probably the best thing. I mean, as we've said dozens of times, I just want Jonathan Taves to take care, do what's best for him.
Yeah.
He's taken so long to get back to feeling good again. Maybe don't ruin it by rushing back to play professional hockey.
Probably a good move. Make sure that you're ready to do this before you do it. All right. We got to do the 4-star of the game, right, Sarah? I'm going to guess Arvid Söderblom won and won handily.
It's not who I voted for.
That's it?
Yeah, he won by 41% in the chat.
All right. Pretty good.
370-something votes.
He was outstanding again. Really like the way he's played this year. A little bit of concern about a month ago. Had a bit of a lull where he kind of looked like his old self again, but has bounced back really nicely. This was interesting. With 3 days between games, between the Carolina game and this one, I was a little surprised that Söderblom got the start. And I wonder if it seems like at least Sorensen's doing the 50-50 split from here on out.
A little bit. He did give Mrazek 2 in a row.
Yeah.
So maybe I would imagine Mrazek starts Sunday against.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, he was great tonight. He's been just as big a disappointment as Philipp Kurashev has been. He has canceled that out by being the biggest surprise this season. Söderblom has.
Yes, he has.
This was a guy that was just going to be buried in the AHL this year, wasn't going to sniff the NHL. We're going to just have him play out this last year with his contract. And
we were saying just ship him. Can we ship him to Europe for something?
And then
just
gone. Out 4 weeks, 3 weeks before the season. Oh, Söderblom will have to live with 1 start, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
Hey, man, it
And
just
now
shows
he's your
what we
best
know.
goalie.
It shows what we know.
We don't know crap.
Because we were ready to put him on the catapult to Europe and just say, get rid of him however you can.
Us and literally everybody
else.
wasn't just us banging that drum.
Yeah. And it's very smart that the Hawks hung on to him.
And he's been great. And this tells me they should sign Jimmy Waite to a lifetime contract. I'm serious. Especially when you got, Drew Commesso and Adam Guyon, two young guys eventually going to come through the system. Those are guys that you're looking to the future.
There's a reason he's been here this long.
If Jimmy Waite can have this turnaround with Arvid Söderblom, who was statistically the worst goaltender in all of hockey last year.
Yes, period. That's not hyperbole.
It's
like literally by the numbers, the worst
goalie in all of hockey last year. And you turn him into an above average starter in one off season. Screw it. Jimmy Waite head coach next year.
Well, look, he's also made Mrazek better.
Yeah.
Like Mrazek came here from Toronto and was kind of lost. I don't know. He's made him look better. Like last year he was really good. This year he's been for the most part really good. There's been some lulls here and there since he came back from injury. He's still on Ben Pope about that, by the way.
Yes, he is.
Calling him out in the locker room.
He was giving him crap. Note to self: Peter Mrazek reads everything.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Or he has somebody read it to him,
right,
and tell him. He's probably listening right now. Yeah. I mean, I think Peter Mrazek rushed back to play in the Winter Classic.
Oh, he's going to hear that.
You know what? Seth Jones did too. Connor Murphy did too.
Murphy played when he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, they all did. I don't blame them.
No, hell. Season's lost anyway.
So, yeah, have your moment. But Mrazek's been pretty good his last 2-3 starts. But, yeah, Söderblom, fantastic this year. Great success story. And now he goes from where we're going to launch him to how many years do we give him after this season? Like, how do we keep him around? So it's a good problem to have. You can never have too much goaltending in your system.
Absolutely not.
Ask the Vegas Golden Knights. They needed 13 of them to win the Stanley Cup a couple of years
I have no problem with the problem though is still you've got Mrazek under contract. You do have Brossoit under contract. So are you going to sign Söderblom to go play in Rockford? I think maybe this offseason you try to deal Mrazek. But with Söderblom being an RFA, you got to figure things out with him. Like, are you going to resign him or trade his rights? Or, you kind of might have to do that.
This is why Brossoit needs to come back and play.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Least 5 or 6 games at the end of the year. Because that's the guy with the more movable contract.
Can he be ready by March 7th? I mean, that's it. That's the day. That's the trade deadline.
He's going to have to get on the ice soon.
You would think.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. They may have to pull a Flyers, and if Brossoit is actually ready to come back and you don't trade Mrazek, you might have to go 3 goalies.
We'll see. Hey, it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
Too many good goalies. It's a good problem to have. All right. Before we go, we want to tell you about our latest promotion. In honor of the new era for the Chicago Bears, we've got a new deal for you, CHGO, pending diehards, $48 for the year. That computes to $4 a month. You're going to get access to all of our great written content at allchgo.com. You're going to get a free shirt or hat upon sign up, or $35 off a hoodie. So think about that. That's a $35 value. The annual pass is $48. Pretty good deal. You also get 20% off all of our events, takeovers, watch parties, everything. Might be one more takeover coming before the end of the year. We're waiting to see. Got a little bit of little hints about the golf outings coming in the summer. Gonna have at least 2. So you'd save 20% on that. Bottom line is, it's a great deal. And you should do it. You should join it. Go to allchgo.com to become a diehard and take advantage of that great $48 for the year deal. We'd love to have you as part of things here. It helps keep us going. And read it. I wrote what I wrote today for Blackhawks Beat was basically how I would approach the trade deadline. And what I said was a third rounder for Taylor Hall. Look at me go. I'm 1 for 1.
I said Jack Roslovic should have been Blackhawk.
You did say that.
And Jake DeBrusk. Imagine if we had those two guys.
You also called Max Domi before that happened. I believe I called Tyler Bertuzzi, kinda.
Yeah.
Everyone on Earth called Tavo.
Yeah, that was
we could see that coming from a mile away.
1 out of 1,000 is pretty good.
Yes.
I'll take my victory laps.
And I want to clarify something. Dom says I'll call everybody stupid. No, I only call stupid things stupid. If your thoughts are stupid, I'll say they're stupid.
He's never called me stupid, so he's right.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I don't think I call a lot of people stupid. It gets aggravating when people come in here without any sort of background knowledge or reading skills. You know, I'm not going to entertain. I have more respect for the audience than that. Let's put it that way. Right?
Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. We'll work on the not acknowledging it part as we.
I know. It's constant. It's constant.
I know.
And it's on my Twitter feed and it's everywhere.
I feel refreshed in this seat because I didn't have to deal with any of that nonsense for the last 5 weeks.
Well, guess what? You're back Sunday. We'll see how you feel.
Sure.
Hawks and Wild, Sunday, 6 p.m. puck drop.
Back Sunday and Tuesday. Won't be doing Hawks post game, but Tuesday, Big Dave and I are recording a Royal Rumble preview show
yes.
for the wrestling. The wrestling podcast is coming back too. So, you pro wrestling fans out there, Big Dave and I back Tuesday. It's gonna be fun.
I'm very glad, and let's say what it is. I mean, Big Dave, a big part of why Greg is back here. One of the people that really went to bat for Greg to get him back here in whatever role we can make happen. And I'm glad Greg's here, as I think everybody knows. And Big Dave is glad too. We're all glad. We're glad to have you back here.
I appreciate that. And before we go, just thanks for, all you guys reaching out. It's been a crazy few weeks, a roller coaster of emotions. But just a shout out to everybody who reached out when everything went down. It didn't take very long for me to realize that things were going to be okay. When you look like, when you get messages from people currently on the team, people within the industry, people from the front office of the Blackhawks are texting you to make sure you're okay and things are going to,
yeah.
And then you get an outpouring from all the listeners and readers, people I've never met in real life. Some people I didn't know existed until that moment. It really gets you feeling good again, and it's really appreciated. So, we're not where we want to be at the moment, but we're getting back, and check out Chicago Hockey Now for the written stuff. I'm happy to be back. This feels good being back here. Spent so much time and energy building this up. So I'm happy to be able to be a part of it again on a limited basis. So, we're going to get through this season and see where things are. But this is fun. So thank you, everybody, for, the kind words over the past few weeks and tonight. And I'm looking forward to being back here Sunday.
Yep. Can't wait. We'll talk to you then after Hawks and Wild right here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.